everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Heralds of the MCU, where we break down shows and media all about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we are focused, as you should know, on WandaVision. This week, as always, I am joined by the lovely Manira.
Hey, guys.
And Sir Eric.
Hola.
I was about to say, that was the lamest, latest hola ever. Get your life together, Eric. And so while Eric gets his while Eric gets his life together, let's jump right in. We got episode 4 of WandaVision this week, and it was a doozy. So, Manira, I think I'm going to start with you because, again, Eric might still be over there getting his life together. What are your initial thoughts about this episode?
It was amazing. It was basically in my brain. So everything that I and we've thought about and talked about was an episode, and that was fantastic. I knew they had to do it, but I didn't think that they would do it as soon as this. I thought maybe episode 4 or 5, maybe. But to me, it makes sense because, of course, Geraldine / Monica was thrown out, so it would only make sense to go to her perspective Monica. Or how she got in there from the first place. What the fuck? What's wrong?
No, he was saying Monica. Oh. I don't know why he said it like that.
I thought he was like grumbling like, I was like, what? What do you think?
Everyone needs to know what Ja Rule thinks.
But yeah. All right. But yeah, no. Just, yeah, that. What a sad.
So, Eric, what were your initial thoughts?
That I was right, as usual. They literally took all of our thoughts from the last episode where we were like, oh, okay, now maybe we'll see behind the curtain and we'll know that this isn't just a in Wanda's head thing, that something big is going down. So we got that universe expansion that we already knew was there, but we wanted to see what was going on behind the curtain, and we got a whole episode of that. And we also got, like, some things from their perspective. Like, they worked in real time with the episodes, and then their perspective. Yes. We got some of the additional, like, when she pushed Monica out last week, we didn't see what happened after that. So we got to find out what happened in Wanda's head after that, and it got a little weird and kind of scary.
I like that we're in our world. Yeah. Like, we are seeing what's supposed to be going on in our world, and I love that.
So, I think that the only appropriate way to continue this conversation is to get into all of the questions, because I feel like this episode, while it gave us some answers, I think it still generated more questions than answers, which is part of the reason that I love the show. Well, actually, let's take a step back. Before we get into that, Manira had mentioned something that I thought was pretty interesting and had also been my experience, which is that there are a lot of people out there who may not be diehard comic book fans, may not be as familiar with some of these characters, and are very much like, I don't get this show. I don't understand what's happening. Why are they giving us, like, superheroes in sitcoms? Like, what is this? And it's really unfortunate to me that people are looking at it from that perspective, because if you do know these characters or anything really about them, you would see the brilliance in how they're doing this show. Mm-hmm. And so it should be a show where you are getting more questions than answers. So before we dive into some of our questions, do you guys have any thoughts about that, about what you guys have been encountering, either in your own circles or, just out on the interwebs and interacting with others talking about this show?
I was shocked that that isn't even a thing, that everyone wasn't on the same page of, this is amazing, that they're setting up Wanda, Monica, that they're setting up phase 4 in this manner, and that they're setting up characters that have been on the back burner or just thrown in our face in one Avenger movie, and we were just supposed to be okay with them, even though we, for the most part, didn't really get anything about them. This unprecedented, fantastic. I don't understand what people don't like. Like, this is
I think
great.
They're a little weirded out by the shift in tone, where it went from, like, because remember, again, this is the first MCU thing we've gotten in a year and a half. Last thing we had was Spider-Man, And like Spider-Man picked up right after Endgame with the after effects of the blip and people coming back, which also that was one of my favorite parts of this episode was they began with Monica coming back having been blipped, which also explains why Captain Marvel didn't talk to her when she came back to Earth in the 5 years after they stopped the original Thanos. So that's a good thing. I do hope that maybe when we see Captain Marvel 2, she meets up with Maria Rambeau, because they said Maria didn't die until 3 years after.
2 years. It was 2 years.
No,
she had died 2 years
after,
ago.
Monica disappeared 2 years.
Right.
So there's about a year of her just by herself. Well, no, it's 3 years of her by herself, because she said her mom died 3 years ago, which was 2 years after you disappeared. So Captain Marvel could come, like Captain Marvel definitely came back to Earth in that time, so it would be nice to see maybe there's like a flashback, kind of similar to Winter Soldier, where Cap goes and visits. I'm sorry, that's Winter Soldier. Well, also in Winter Soldier, but also in Civil War, where he goes and visits Peggy Carter.
Right.
So maybe she goes and visits Maria Rambeau.
Can we talk about the fact that I low-key think that she was given that cancer again?
I'm hoping it's not like a cosmic radiation thing, and maybe her being around. Well, I mean, we also learn in this one that she helped start SWORD, similar to the way that Peggy Carter started S.H.I.E.L.D. So maybe.
Okay, you aren't picking up what I'm putting down. I think it's a ego situation, like what's his name's mother. I think that someone gave her cancer to move her.
We'll
out
talk
of the
about
way.
that later, because you and I both have the same sneaking suspicion about a new character we're introduced to in this episode. So
but no, to your point, people can be I'm not used to this, like the way that it's broken down, but for the most part, almost all of the movies have been kind of different.
The biggest complaint that I heard from some people were, especially about the first 2 episodes, were like, this shit is boring. I was like,
but how? Like, it's fucking completely different from anything that we've seen, and we're getting to see Wanda and Vision the way that we supposedly would have seen them if we had spent time with them when they fucked off to, where were they? When Cap had to go get them. Yeah, like, no, it's not boring. We're seeing why, if it's what we think, why she went as snapped as she did, and why she would want to recreate her romance or this love that she had.
This utopian bubble. Because Wanda's whole life has been trauma. Me. Why wouldn't she want to disappear in this place that is perfect in every way to her?
Yeah, it does not register to me when people say that.
I think it's a difference in the fact that, like, these are shows and they're 30-minute bites, and even then they're kind of short, but I like the pace that they're moving at. You don't get a chance to get bored, but I mean, unless you're some people. These are characters that you didn't get a lot of in the movies. Like, you saw a good bit of Vision in Age of Ultron, and then they're kind of side characters for the Avengers. So you're putting them in their own little bubble and giving them a chance to expand upon their personalities, so that maybe these might become your new favorite Avengers, especially since some of the old ones are gone. Give it a shot. Yeah,
Wanda's definitely she's got a special place in my heart. After this episode especially, I really, really,
plus they're really expanding on like her
Scarlet
powers,
Witch.
which even in the first one in Age of Ultron, like what's her name, Agent
who are you speaking about?
Nick Fury's right hand lady,
Maria Hill.
Yeah. She basically describes her as her powers are weird. So she's like, he's fast, she's weird, but that doesn't begin to that doesn't like go beneath the surface of what her powers are. And this show is finally starting to break down, because again, I think I mentioned it before, like, she almost took down Thanos on her own.
She did.
She's definitely got some
with just
shit
anger
beneath the
and
surface.
those powers.
Yeah. And she is definitely, in the comics, she is an Omega level mutant, meaning she can cause some world-ending shit.
Right.
Yeah.
We keep, I feel like we cannot stress this enough to our viewers and listeners. Like, if you do not know this character, she is powerful as shit. And we are, like, literally, this show is, in my opinion, right now, just scratching the surface of how powerful she actually is.
Yeah.
So, with that, let's get into some questions. There were two main questions that I had for you two that I was wondering what you thought. So the first question that I have, and maybe it'll be exposed later on in the show, why Westview, New Jersey? Now that we know that she has literally taken over a town, why this town? Is there a connection somehow that we may or may not be aware of? And Eric, do you already know? Because I've got
but
nothing.
No. The main thing that I'm thinking is the fact that Westview is New Jersey's right next to New York. Avengers Campus was in upstate New York, so I'm assuming after the destruction of the Avengers Campus and Endgame, maybe Sword or whoever, like maybe she went wandering to try to find herself. Because remember, the last time we see her in Endgame, she's basically like, yeah, I'm gonna go and try to figure out what to do with my life because everyone that she loves is gone. Just throwing more trauma on top of that fucking trauma pile. So yeah, maybe she went looking and she found this idyllic little town and was like, oh, I like this. There's things I would change about it. You know what? I'm just gonna change it.
Maybe that idyllic town found her.
That's the other thing. Yeah, there's still someone. We feel like there's someone behind the scenes pulling the strings.
There's still someone definitely behind the scenes. This is still, to me, not just Wanda's trauma.
But also, in the funeral, Tony's house was in upstate New York.
Yeah.
Right? So that makes sense. But also, Sword, with Monica, the way that she was able to just get through, we'll get to Westview in like a car. I feel like it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's
like I feel like
right
all of that
highway.
is either in Virginia or whatnot.
Yeah,
Say what you said?
It's essentially right off the highway because we see the sign for it when she's driving.
Yep.
Yeah.
Second question that I have for you guys that immediately struck me in watching this episode. No one from the area where the town is even acknowledges that the town exists, as we see with the sheriffs. Agent Wu is just like, I can just sense that it doesn't want me to go in there. But Monica touches it and is able to get right through. Now, considering that in the comics, her powers allow her to kind of turn into energy, do we think that maybe they're just giving us a blip into her actual latent powers? Because otherwise, how was she the one that was able to get through?
Anything can get through. Because remember, the other one, the guy going through the tunnels, he just got right through.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
To your fucking point about her powers, in the very beginning, when it's all that chaos and people are like blipping back, she hits that guy, or that guy runs into her with such fucking force that he's like holding his fucking head like he hit a brick wall.
Well, I mean, also...
What the fuck was that?
That man just came back into existence.
I don't know. It's something about the way that they hit each other, and she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he was holding his fucking head like he banged into something very.
Well, we
hard.
also don't know, like,
that
in her
bothered me
time
immensely.
at Sword, like maybe she's had some work done. You know, maybe she's, she seems like the type of person, not unlike Carol and her mom, that would be the first person to dive into some shit. So,
yeah. But also to your point about the force field, I feel like the force field is making certain people not know, like the police officers who are standing right there next to that what is
the
it?
Sign, yeah.
Billboard that says Westview as big as fucking day, and he's like, nah, there's no fucking Westview. Well, and I've told him that.
That's the thing. She's for some odd reason, I guess she, might have figured out who's where, and her powers are blocking people from the local community from knowing. And the only way that Agent Wu found out is that he has a person in witness protection because he's in the FBI that's in that town, and he had to check on them.
But there's an interstate sign that says Westview.
But
and it doesn't look new. It looks like a regular sign.
I feel like anyone in that area that just came in would be like, oh, okay. Anyone getting close that, I don't know how to explain it, but the people who are from Westview or Eastview or wherever, New Jersey, have just forgotten about it because of Wanda's power. Just like the cops are like, yeah, Westview doesn't exist. I'm from Eastview. Then the only reason that people now know about it is because Agent Wu went to go check on his witness protection guy.
All right. Are you done with your questions? Because I got a bunch.
No. I'm pretty sure I'm going to stop there because I'm pretty sure that you have all the questions, and some of those questions are going to include some of my questions. So, Manira, I'm going to turn this over to you. Y'all don't know this, but this is actually the Manira episode because we already knew she was coming in locked and loaded. So, also, Manira, let's go. What you got? Hold on.
Yeah, some fan feedback that came through on the Facebook. A couple questions about this episode of WandaVision as well.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay. So we've got a grab bag this week. Hey. Well, I mean, technically we don't do a grab bag for the show, but
right. I was like, wait a minute.
Listen. All right. So I think that the best approach, Manira, we'll go through your questions, and then Eric will go through any additional questions that you have, and then we'll get into that feedback.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yes.
I love it. So Eric? Manira, let's go. Locked and loaded.
Right. So the beginning, when Monica blips back, I think it's very important that the first thing that she hears or the memory that she remembers is her telling Monica, her mom, Maria, her telling her mother, Maria, to go up to space with Captain Marvel, Carol, and that, Carol calling her Lieutenant Trouble.
She's like, I'm going to build my own spaceship.
Exchange. Right. I enjoy that immensely. Next, we've already talked about the guy getting bashed, and I feel about that. So the guy at the security desk at Sword. So, okay, she walks in. That guy said, Tyler then says that she hasn't aged a day. That guy, she's trying to use her security badge.
That guy was rude as hell,
it's not going through. Right. A little too rude.
Oh, he was like, I work here. And he's like, oh, well, if you did, your badge would work. It's like, sir.
Right. And so that's my thing. So, okay, if what Tyler said is true with, hey, that she, that her mom put things in place for her to come back, then wouldn't her information still be in the system? And why is that guy new, or is he part of
it's a mix of both.
See, yeah, I think he was definitely new. Also, when Tyler was talking about putting things in place, I feel like it was more, I don't want to say metaphorically, but it was definitely more like if people come back, and it wasn't a set, we want to have a protocol, but not, I really believe they're going to come back, so don't delete their stuff out the system. Don't do this, don't do that.
Also just kind of goes to, standard security protocol. Yes, you may still come back, but we're not going to let you just walk in the building. If you disappeared, we don't know where you went. You might have gone somewhere and gotten brainwashed, and then you show up out of nowhere, and you try to come back to a secure area. No, that's a bad idea. Let's at least put your shit on hold.
Well, then shouldn't her information pop up, or shouldn't something show that she used to work there? We need to keep her we need to take her so that we can look through whatever or wherever she's been.
No,
I don't think
she
so.
Just walked straight in and was like, I'm here to work, beep boop. As someone who works in a little bit of security, I feel there are definitely protocols that you take when someone goes missing, or you basically put their shit on hold.
Everything. Yeah, I was about to say, when I worked for the federal government, and I wasn't even in DOJ or DOD. If you are not there, even if you are an employee who went out on maternity leave, all your stuff was suspended out of the system until the HR department came back and said, okay, this person comes back on this date. When they come back on this date, reactivate everything. So I didn't find that odd at all, because even in lower level areas of the government, they don't just keep your shit on.
Not to mention, he seemed basically just like a receptionist. with key cards like that, even if you are denied entry, it goes somewhere in the system and you'll basically pop up as someone try. Like the front desk guy is not going to know about it, but someone in security will know, okay, someone tried to access this with her key card.
Which might have been why Tyler was right there, like within seconds of the interaction.
No.
Well, he also
Fuck
mentioned
that.
it had been
No.
3 weeks since the blip and everybody came back and she's the first person to show up.
I don't know. It's still a little too his nasty remark, Tyler popping the fuck up, her mother being one of the creators of this, and you don't know who the fuck she is.
Well, again,
I
he
don't
might
like
have been
any of
new,
that.
or he might have just blipped back and was like, I need a job.
I don't think he was new. I mean, I don't think he
was
just
new.
blipped back. I do think that he may have been someone that joined the organization within the 5 years that
Yeah,
she
and
has
doesn't know
been
who
gone.
Monica Rambeau
And to
is.
Eric's and to Eric's point, ordinarily when you go into one of those government buildings, the person who you are encountering at the front desk is not a member of
No,
that
it's usually a very
organization.
low-level
They are
person.
normally contracted security, or like FPS, which is like Federal Protective Service. In some buildings, they may have their people at the front desk, but they're not like someone in that agency more times
dive a
than
little
not.
deeper into this. Manira, I think you're putting too much emphasis on the guy at the desk, whereas I think we
Yep.
both feel like Tyler is dirty in some form.
Well, no, I'm putting that emphasis on the guy at the desk because I want, like, now that Tyler is the director, I feel like he's put his people
Well,
in
he just
place.
seems rude.
And
The
so
guy
I
at the
feel
desk
like
just
one
seems
of
like a
those
rude
people
employee.
is that fucking guy.
I mean, I think that is definitely possible that the receptionist or the security guy at the front is one of Tyler's goons, but at the same time, having been somebody that's gone into a lot of federal buildings because of like my family being in the federal government, you encounter
Yeah, he
rude
just
ass
seems
people
rude
at the
as
front all the damn time. Yeah, that is par for the course. People who are nice when you walk in a building are actually the exception because normally they're jackasses.
Gentle listeners, please be on my side, these two bing bongs. When it comes out that he is part of whatever Tyler's doing.
I don't think anybody's
We want-
denying that though.
we want
I
our-
don't.
waiting.
Yeah,
want
I
our
don't.
for them to
comeuppance.
basically expose Tyler for doing something dirty because he keeps popping in and out when important things happen. But that random guy at the desk, you really do not like that random guy at the desk for some reason.
I don't like, okay, because she literally said, I used to work here, and he said, well, if you did, your card would work.
He's just rude.
No. She didn't say I used to work
I
here.
work
She
here.
said I work here.
Well, then when someone says that, you probably think, even though you know what's going on, think, oh, well, maybe you're one of the blipped. Have you been to HR? Have you spoken to so-and-so
Yeah.
and so? Let me find, what's your name?
just
Let me
seems like
do
a
my
bad
due fucking
employee.
diligence to
Yeah.
figure it out.
He doesn't seem
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah,
he just
yeah,
seems like a
I-
shitty employee.
Yeah, this is one like
he seems very
normally
evil to me.
or he's just a
Yeah.
dick, but I don't think him being a dick negates that he may be one of Tyler's people. I just don't think that there is a 1-to-1 correlation that he was rude to her because
Here's
he
the
is
thing.
one of Tyler's
I'm hoping
people.
that like 3 episodes
Alright.
down the line, when something gets revealed and that one guy is standing next to Tyler, Manira is going to be here with fucking party poppers like, boo!
You fucking know I will.
Told you. And then you just either that or she's going to sip her tea very slowly with her pinky out like,
Sure will. Moving on. So the astronaut training program. That's Fantastic Four, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. I was
Right?
very excited when I heard them say that because looking at the color scheme that they have, all this blue, gray, and white, and then the astronaut training program, and them saying that it wasn't particularly going well, I'm like, that's definitely Fantastic
I
Four.
didn't get that vibe.
If Eric disagrees with us and that shit comes out later, I too
Yep.
will be like you with
Yep.
the poppers because I definitely got the Fantastic Four
I get
vibe
Fantastic
from
Four vibe, but knowing the history of the Fantastic Four, the main reason that they go to space like that is because Reed Richards is broke. In every version of Fantastic Four, he's broke as fuck, and he needs he wouldn't go to the government; he'd go to a private sector, which is usually where he comes into Victor Von Doom or some other evil billionaire.
Well, maybe they're changing it.
Maybe,
maybe
but
it's we're broke of astronauts. Like nobody wants to go up to space. Y'all want to go up to
Well,
space? I'll scratch your back.
I
You
also know
scratch
Reed
ours.
Richards doesn't really trust the government. He doesn't trust things like S.H.I.E.L.D. and Sword, so
Well, he shouldn't, because Tyler is head of it. And okay, so Sword handles robotics, nanotech, AI under Tyler's leadership.
Yeah,
I put in air quotes because
sentient
leadership.
world observation, research and development, or something like that.
Right. So the creation part is just done, because it looks like they're building shit. Like, it harkened back to when Tony came back from being kidnapped and he was speaking with Obadiah about Stark Industries being warmongers. When in Winter Soldier, Cap and Nick are going
When he's showing him Project
downstairs
Insight.
to development, and he's showing him that. I got that vibe, especially with the way that it looked, and it was just the two of them. I got very much he is our big bad. He is our villain.
I would.
Our
I wouldn't
human
be
villain.
surprised. I wouldn't. I don't know if he's the main villain, but I think he's definitely.
No,
I don't think he's the
not
main villain,
No.
but I think he is a villain. Now, here's the question, though.
I feel like if his doing is not what's causing this, I feel like by the end of the series, maybe he'll disappear and do some shady shit that will take advantage of what we've learned here.
I don't know that he'll disappear. I think that he's constantly leaving. So
Yeah,
I
he
think
always
that he'll
seems to
just say,
disappear.
I
like,
gotta go,
I need a flight out of here in a hurry.
we'll find out
Yeah.
where he's going. Yeah. What was your question, Maria?
No, I was going to say, because Hayward is the last name in common, because it was Brian Hayward in the Iron Man movies. So, assuming relation because of the same last name, what type of relation? Because I think that what type of relation would then affect how evil we may be talking here. Like, is this a son? Is this a younger brother? Who is he in relation? And I don't know if we're gonna get that. You know what I mean? I hope we do, because I don't think, like, they don't do anything by coincidence. His last name is not Hayward by coincidence. But exactly what the relation is, I think, matters. Like, is what I'm saying making sense?
A little bit, because they've also modified the meaning of sword. Like, I say sentient world. In the comics it's world, but in the show it's like sentient weapons. So I feel like he may be very related in the same thing, where like he kind of like Obadiah Stane.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. All right.
So next,
what's your next one? Yeah.
The missing person that brings in Jimmy Woo. It's a he. It's fucking Ralph, right?
I think it might be Ralph.
Yeah. But okay, so, and the fact that we haven't seen Ralph, we saw Agnes up on the board, but her driver's license was not there, and her driver's license was the only one that was not there. I wasn't able to, like, screen grab what the information of her they received, but the ID not being there is a dead giveaway for me. There was no Ralph. There was also no Dottie, but and they did figure out who her husband was. But there was no fucking Ralph. Ralph's got to be either our big bad or the missing person that Jimmy Woo is here for, right? Because he's
I don't
he's a
remember
he.
seeing Agnes on the board. I might have to go back and watch it again.
Agnes was on the board. She most fucking certainly was.
No, but to Manira's point, her name was, like,
Her
she was
picture and
on
her
the
name
board,
was
but
there.
there was no, but there was no driver's license like there was for everybody else.
No.
I noticed that too, and I was
Yep.
like, huh. So she's still in that list of suspects for me. And then I had read something about the piece of jewelry that she was wearing last week, not this
cameo.
week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that Agnes is still very much in the works, and I don't think that they know yet who she is.
Yeah. Okay. So Darcy and Agent Woo are basically you, me, and
I was
Maria.
very happy to see Darcy back. I missed her. We hadn't seen her since the end of Thor: The Dark World.
And
She's one of
Big
my
up to
favorite
Darcy.
characters
She's officially
from Thor.
a doctor.
So
So like she got her shit working.
Right. And then she was like Miss Lewis. He
It's
was like Miss
Doctor.
Lewis. She's like Dr. Lewis. And I was like, yes, bitch.
say,
yes.
again,
Don't let him make him put some
if
respect
I go
on
to
your
school
name.
for 8+ years, you're gonna call me the fucking title I earned.
Even if you're
All
my
right,
child.
Dr. Jill.
Put
It's
some
gonna
respect
be
on
Dr.
Dr. Jill's
Mom.
name and on Dr. Darcy's name.
Yes. Okay, so we have them. I like them as a team. I hope that we get to see more of them in Doctor Strange. Is she coming to Love and Thunder?
I would hope so.
I feel like if Jane's there, you're going to get a little bit of Darcy.
Okay. I just don't want them to sideline Darcy because, I mean, with this episode we see she is very smart, very capable. She's basically filling in the gaps. She was the one that figured out about the cosmic microwave background radiation. The fuck. So that is basically.
Well, she has the background on that because she met Thor and learned about Einstein radiation bridges and all that good stuff, which is essentially what he uses to get sent out into space by Heimdall.
Yeah. So bringing that back, so they're calling it a relic radiation that goes back
To the
Big Bang, which is basically what Wong told us is how we got the Infinity Stones created. So this is Wanda's fucking radiation. That said, are we getting
hold on.
mutants?
Well, hold on, because there was something else interesting, and I don't know if you caught it. When she was talking about the frequency, or the CMBR being the frequency that the show is on, did you catch that she said something about there being other episodes prior to the ones that, like episode 1 and 2 that we've seen of the show?
I didn't
No,
yeah, I didn't
and I
see
had the caption on. When did she say that?
So apparently it was when she was first talking about the show and watching it. I think it was either there or when she was talking to Wu that she was saying that she was invested. It was one of the two. There was a quick blurb about other episodes. And I don't think she was referring to episodes 1 and 2 because we see them on screen watching episodes, like blips of episode 1 and 2.
Okay, so wait. Was it when they saw Geraldine? Because that was an episode that we didn't see. When Geraldine was sitting on the park bench.
I think it was around that time that she
Okay.
said something about it, because that also explains how at the end they were saying how it was altered, and then we see, zombie vision and all of that. So I think that there's going to be more that gets exposed through what she's researching and seeing versus just what we're being shown as the episodes of what's going on inside Westview.
So, okay. So you're saying...
Damn, I got a tinfoil hat on now.
You're saying what we will see either in episode 8 or 9 will be the actual story, unedited completely, because she's seeing like some edited parts and some unedited parts.
Exactly.
So we will see the whole.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm
so.
thinking.
Yeah, because to your point, we didn't actually see she didn't see what we saw of Wanda and Vision having, like, Wanda saying Geraldine has to go, and then her turning around and seeing Vision creepily. We didn't see that. We saw her see Vision regular style, and then they ended nicely and all that good stuff.
Right, and it's just like when she sends Geraldine out. I don't remember
We didn't see that
seeing
at
her
all.
go through walls and all the destruction and
We
everything
didn't see
else. Like,
any of that.
All of that was added in. There's a reason. That's the point I'm making. That there is a reason that it's kind of being coded, and I'm wondering if Dr. Darcy is going to be the one to figure that piece out.
Yeah, I hope so.
Also,
because the part where
not to
Go ahead.
to crinkle your tinfoil hat a little bit more. Did you guys happen to, because I did, pause on the whiteboard that Agent Wu is making?
bitch, you know
Because
we
he's got
did.
he's got
I did
things
not.
on there
What
like
you wanna
who is
talk
behind
about?
this, and one of his top answers is it the Skrulls?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So they know about scrolls.
Yeah,
But,
I
okay,
assume
if they
Monica
know about
and Maria
Skrulls-
Rambo would have told them because I'm assuming Talos was still there. That's where I think real Nick Fury is. He's out in space helping with a sword operation.
Right, but scrolls are good.
Yeah. Well, that we know
Well-
of. We don't know how long they've been on Earth. The only time we know that they've been there is from the beginning of Captain Marvel.
Right, but then we're working with them. Like
Okay,
Nick
but
Fury
here's
is
the thing.
working with them.
But Eric,
But
correct
there's
me if
also
I'm wrong.
like eons.
Scrolls have been good and scrolls have also
Yeah.
been bad.
Not to mention-
So we can't operate on the assumption that they're just good because they actually ended up being good in Captain Marvel, because in the comics there have been times that the scrolls were the enemy.
The Skrulls originally appeared as villains in Fantastic Four, but at the same time, like the Kree and the Skrull War has been going on for eons. So like we're just kind of in the middle of their war because both of them keep coming to Earth.
I'm gonna have to read Secret Invasion, aren't I?
Well, you don't have
it
to
won't
because
hurt.
they're making a show of it. Remember?
Right, but I mean, they're making a show of this, and did my ass read Vision and House of M? Sure the fuck did. Like, I do my research. So I might have.
Well,
to
you're
read
also
that.
right about her and the background where Geraldine is in the background, because we've never seen that scene. It's
Yeah.
her and Agnes looks like she's shopping and they're just having a friendly conversation on the street. So maybe there's like a filler episode that we don't see as the audience, but Darcy saw.
Yeah. Okay, so moving back into my questions, where did Agent Franklin go? Because he's still fucking in there. He was not shot out, like he was just node, and then was he erased?
That's what I'm worried about, because when Monica comes back at the end, she's like, it's all Wanda. Wanda is doing all this.
Right.
So maybe she turned him into a fucking tree or something, or she blipped him out of existence. I don't know.
Yeah, that really scared me. And the fact that her magic turned him into a beekeeper and then turned half of that tether into an old school jump rope. The fuck was that?
Yeah, her. It is a lot.
It also turned
but
the drone into a toy helicopter.
Yeah.
Right.
What
Okay.
is
It's something
why?
like a perception filter where it's turning the things
so-
to match the time period.
to match the reality of what she's created. But I felt like this episode, even more than others, still have me leaning to Mephisto actually being the big bad. Like, I really, 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 I'm doubling down on it. Because yes, Wanda is doing all of these things, but there are definitely moments that Wanda doesn't seem like Wanda. Agnes is still out in the air. And then that creepy fucking sheriff at the beginning talking about, I'm from Eastview, blah, blah, blah. He was kind of dicky, kind of like your your receptionist guy.
Oh, yeah.
But tightening that tinfoil, Mephisto is also known as Lucifer. Lucifer is supposed to be the domain of Lucifer is supposed to be the East, and they're all saying that they're from Eastview. I still think Mephisto has something to do with it.
Well, to your point, okay, so moving on to my next question, the identifying of the people, they've almost identified everyone but Agnes. We know that Wanda is susceptible to manipulation. That is literally how we met her in Age of Ultron. She was being manipulated by Ultron to do his dirty work. I feel like maybe Agnes is Agatha Harkness, a witch that is telling her, they bumped into each other and Wanda was feeling low in her depression, in her trying to get the life that she thought she was promised back. Agatha told her, I can help you, and this is how.
Yeah. Well, not just that. Like, there's things that we're not seeing. Like, even Darcy mentions that when they're trying to when they're figuring out how to use the radio to talk to her, she mentions that by her account she has to wash the dishes like 4 times an episode, which is gross because 1950 standards. We don't see that in the show, but clearly they saw it on their end. So there's stuff that we as the audience are not seeing.
Yeah.
Well, and even going deeper into the Agatha thing, because nerding out over here, when they started revealing the names of the actual characters like Herb and Mrs. Hart, I started just searching to see if I could find a reference to these names because none of them sounded familiar to me. So Herb's real name is John Collins. Mrs. Hart's real name is Sharon Davis. And funny enough, those are names of two art directors for the show. So basically they gave them these kind of nondescript, kudos for them, like shouting out people that work on the show. But these are clearly not people associated in the MCU. And yet and still, we've got nothing on Agnes.
At all.
I feel like how much more proof do we need? And I can't see her being anybody but Agatha Harkness.
Right.
And when you saw Dr. Darcy watching the clips, did you also notice that a bunch of the clips that they saw that they had her showing had Agatha in them?
Agnes.
Yeah.
More so than any of the other townspeople.
No, she's always around. She's always around Wanda, which to me is why I thought that they put in Geraldine Monica to try and get to Wanda and be her best friend, and why Agnes was talking to Herb like, is she still in there? What's she fucking doing? Where's she been? Basically giving all the context clues of herself. She doesn't have a home. She doesn't have a husband. We ain't never seen your home, bitch. We ain't never seen your husband.
Geraldine never directly interact.
No.
And she seems to show
not
up
at
when
all.
Geraldine shows up to like put that doubt in her head. The
Thwart
only
it.
time that they're in the same place at the same time, but they still never interact, is at the magic show.
Well, and also at the swim party.
I don't
Right, at
think
the
Agnes
planning
was there,
party.
was she?
She was on Wanda's left, and Geraldine was on her right.
Yeah, but they never directly interact. And
No.
no one else in town, for the exception of her and Herb, know that she didn't have a house.
Yeah.
So I think
Or a
at
husband.
some point Geraldine, like, she knows that she's not really Geraldine. She's making up this persona, but like she just happened to show up and need a bucket when Wanda's about to go into labor. I feel like she knows what she's doing, and Agnes shows up at the same time to be like, hey, she don't belong here.
I said that shit.
You
said
did.
that shit.
No, you did. You said that last week. Yep. All right. What's your next question?
My next question, to your point, again, with Wanda not really knowing her whole, like, kind of who she is. Wanda looked very shocked when she knocked Geraldine completely out of her world. When she was doing it, she looked very menacing, very much like, you're trying to change something that I don't want you to change. She said so much. You're trespassing. Get the fuck out. She cleaned her out. And then right after, she looked like, did I do that?
Right, like, what have I just
It's
done?
The first time
Right.
she's used her magic in the show, and it looked like her magic in reality. Because every other time she's used it, it's been very like Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, like quick cuts or like things like clearly look like they're floating on strings like you'd see in a 50s sitcom. This was the first time she started doing her weird hand movements, and you saw the red trails.
Yeah.
And she pushed her through walls and shit. So it's the first time she's had to like remember, oh wait, this is what it looks like. And then she immediately cleaned it back up and went back to, her reality.
But the way that she cleaned it up was like somebody that was going through the motions of,
It wasn't like the rest of the time when she fixes something and it's just a snap of the finger and it's back to normal. No, this was her. She knew something was wrong, and she put it back the way that she knows how to put it back with her normal power.
And then she low-key looked surprised that she had those babies.
I think she kind of snapped out of it for a second, and then even more so when Vision conveniently came back in after she was already done.
Vision?
And we saw that weird zombie Vision who looked like the dead Vision after Thanos had pulled the thing out of his face, which I thought was a great look.
So is he just walking around? Like, do we think that dead Vision is just walking around? That's how everyone sees him?
I think maybe she is basically manipulating his dead body, and because I'm sure after Vision died, Vision didn't disappear in the blip. They probably put him on storage somewhere, because even without the Soul Stone, he's still a very powerful piece of technology.
Right, because
Right.
Yeah, I was saying, because that's what I was gonna ask, because I know in the comics he gets rebuilt, but he's never quite the same. So is this the rebuilt Vision, and she is just then manipulating him to be her version
Pretty
of
much.
Vision, or is he not even there?
I think she's rebuilding him, basically reanimating his dead body. But at the same time, with her magic, she might be actually bringing him back. But he is becoming sentient again and knows something is wrong, which you see because every time every time he starts questioning,
she turns around and he kind of looks like the fuck, but then he quickly plasters on that smile and then goes and sits down. That shit was eerie too.
Yeah,
I love everything about this.
When they're
fucking
watching
show.
the episode that we watched last week, and like it just cuts straight to the credits.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they all just sit down, each with a baby in hand, and it's the perfect family that she wants.
Yeah. Oof.
Yo, this bitch cray. That's really what it boils down to. She's
not crazy. She just she's had a break. No one was able
I feel
to,
like someone is
talk to her and
in
tell
that
her.
Direction. Like someone noticed that she's in this weird mental state, and they're giving her the pushes that she needs to do what they want from her.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mephisto. He's pushing.
Yeah, and
I'm not
I
letting
feel
that
like
go.
Agnes
I
might be his
wouldn't.
agent of chaos there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
I
exactly
low-key
what
wanted
I
her
think
to
it is.
be. I want her to be him, but I mean, we still could. Like, she could still morph into him.
Or hot take, maybe this has to do with the Loki show. The Loki show deals with them going through time a lot. Loki is someone who enjoys a good bit of chaos. Maybe he is actually Agnes.
You think he's Ralph?
Maybe he's actually Agnes, and he's doing what he wants to basically, this seems like some Loki shit.
So Eric went from let me put on my tinfoil hat to let me look like Puffy and Mace in that video with the entire fucking shiny aluminum suit on.
These go to 11.
That would be insane.
But it'd be a nice tie-in.
Because
It'd be
remember,
a nice
the
tie-in.
Loki that we're dealing with now is the Loki from 2012. He's still very much kind of evil.
Kind of? We're going to go with
He was
kind of?
pretty evil.
He's misunderstood, not evil, y'all. I mean, come
No,
on.
he hasn't had a loss in his life. Once his mommy died, he was a little bit softer.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
He's not the reformed kind of Loki that we got through the end of Infinity War.
Yeah, he's still bad boy Loki, which is my sister's favorite, apparently.
Which I think is going to be really difficult in general. Like, one of the things that I think Marvel does really, really well, but is going to be tricky, I know for a fact for some of our listeners and viewers, but a lot of people in general, is the jumps around in time. And the fact that we are dealing with multiple beings from multiple either points in time or different realities. I think it's going to be a little tricky for some folks to keep up. I can see folks with Loki, for example, being very confused because of the last Loki that they saw on screen. So
Then that one's not for you. Don't watch it. It's 'cause don't shit on my shit. Like, I want things. I don't need you bad mouthing it and then the mouse going, well, people didn't like it. No. It wasn't for those people.
Yeah, because I think like that's even bringing it back. Like that's even some of the confusion that you get with this show, right? Because people don't understand the whole time space continuum that's going on here, and it's fucking with
straight
folks.
from Endgame. They're like, oh well, Vision died. How is he immediately alive in this first episode? And they're in this idyllic 1950s sitcom.
She got her fucking powers from the Mind Stone. What do you mean? Of course.
All right,
But no,
so
I'm done.
Okay, cool. So, Eric, with that, you said that we got some feedback from some of our viewers and listeners. What are their questions? Let's dive into what they think.
We got one in a Facebook message on the Facebook page, Concentrated Podcast. If you're not already subscribed, go and like that. We got it from Kevin. It says, sorry, just opening in a different window. What do you guys think about Agnes being Wanda's former witch instructor, Agatha Harkness? She likely helped Wanda learn to better control her powers and learn magic as well. She is helping deal with her grief and got overpowered by Wanda, which makes a little bit of sense because she seems like she knows that she's there, but she can't do anything about it. He continues, also, since the power level Wanda is using is that of the Big Bang, what if that's how Monica gets her powers and the mutants are formed when this is over and her work is gone?
Because of the, I mean, yes to both those things. The Agatha episode 2, when Wanda says, well, I'll just be myself. And Agatha looked frightened. And instead of being
you mean
like,
Agnes, or are we just going to call her Agatha?
No.
I was saying because she is Agatha.
We
But
could, but, yeah, when she looked like very frightened, and then kind of cleaned it up with the girl, no. But at first it was no, don't be yourself. Don't be yourself. So yes, and with Darcy saying, with the radiation and the goon being like, well, we were told that it's okay, radiation, right? And Darcy's like, I mean, for right now. I feel like that's a clue. That for right now. Soon it's not. I was gonna say,
because again, because of what it came from in the movies, like the power came from that stone, so clearly that power can create other powers because they both got different powers using the same stone.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Huh. We shall see. All right, Eric, anything else?
No, that was the only feedback we got for this, which is great because we hadn't had any feedback before. So thanks, Kevin. Keep writing in.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. All right, well, I think we can wrap, but before we do, any quick predictions on what we're going to get in episode 5?
I would say the 80s. I feel like we're going to jump time periods again to the 80s, but I don't know if now that the curtain has been lifted and we know what's going on behind the scenes, maybe they'll split it up with, a little bit in Wanda's world and a little bit in the real world.
I feel like Monica is going to ramp up we need to get her out, or we need to get those people out and figure out what is going on.
Yeah, that was my biggest beef with this episode, was that it went by. It was so interesting and so amazing, and then it was over. Yeah. And I was like, as soon as she said,
it was too short.
Words, it was very short.
I knew they're going to go to credits, and then immediately credits. God damn it, I got to wait another week.
Yeah.
Like, literally, my husband and I were watching, and he was like, that's fucking it. Like, literally, that is exactly what he said. And I'm like, yeah, but let's watch the credits.
Right, because
maybe. And there's like,
no. I appreciate it. You guys are building ambiance in this perfect world, and god damn it, I just want it now. I feel like Manera when she watches Netflix.
Maybe the music is because it's 2 different credits to their credit. It's 2 different credits, and the music is always different.
Okay, so really quick on this, because did a little research. On the end credit, they do Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix, right? And if you listen to the lyrics, and obviously with the context of the show, there's something in there of like creating your own island, stealing the time of others, and seeing... Yeah, and then seeing the dead in a new world. And then when the song is like, I'm standing next to a mountain, what mountain are we referring to here? Is it Wundagore? Like, who knows? So I think that they're trying to also give us stuff in the music. This is the first time that it really like struck me. So now it's like, shit, I think I might want to go back and like listen to all of the other music.
There. I think maybe they just mean Voodoo Child as in these children aren't real. But you do.
Okay,
We're here for theories.
Okay, so my question. Okay, I took my hat off because we were going off.
Put it back on.
Now I don't want to. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you 3 minutes.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Those children are going to be real, though, right?
I assume. And it all depends on like if she's jumping time periods. Will the children age with the time periods? Like they're clearly in the 70s now in like some Brady Bunch type shit, and then they'll jump to the 80s and it'll be like a like Growing Pains. What's the Michael Keaton one?
No. After
not Michael Keaton,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Family Ties. After this, those children are going to be real, though.
I hope so, but at the same time, it ends well.
I don't know.
Remember, in House of M, they weren't real, but then they became real later.
I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be, and I think because we have the Young Avengers coming up, I don't think they're going to take them away. I think they're going to be part of
It
our
would be
young
nice,
Avengers.
especially if they lump them in with Hawkeye and Miss Marvel, and if you bring in some of the other young Avengers, like aren't they bringing in what's her name? America Chavez is coming in. Yeah,
Chavez. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and then give us Wiccan.
But
and
is
Speed.
she? Wait, is she in Doctor Strange?
I believe America Chavez is in Doctor Strange. Yeah, I believe that was what they said.
And Wanda's going
I
to be in
will
Doctor
Which makes
Strange.
sense because
Just FYI, I will lose all my shit if America Chavez is actually
America
Dr.
Chavez
Strange.
is, in the comics, her character jumps through dimensions. She can literally kick holes in dimensions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I low-key think those children are going to stay with us. I mean, I know that they are in the comics not real. Well, real and then not
at
real
first,
and then kind of
right.
real. You know, I think I feel like we're going to keep them. I feel like we're going to keep them.
Yeah, she is. She is in.
Okay, but
in
if
Doctor
we-
Strange, she's confirmed. They also already cast her.
All right, well, we can talk about that on Concentrated. So, guys, you need to also watch our other, or watch and listen to our other podcast, Concentrated, where we'll probably dive a little deeper into that.
Oh, she's very young. She's only 14.
I'm with you, Manira. I would like for them to keep the kids, but like it doesn't end well for anyone in this family. So
I'm hoping that they change it. I'm hoping that they change. Like we're getting
no,
so much.
don't
of
rewrite
Wanda.
canon.
What?
Don't rewrite canon.
We rewrite canon all the time. I'm
No.
hoping that they change. Like, I hope that Wanda is now taking her villain turn and then going where Doctor Strange will be able to, you know,
Bring her
take her
back?
take her under his mystical wing, and they can be a
do
nice
you think
team
she
together.
is the bad guy in Doctor Strange too?
Yes,
It would make sense. She would
Yes.
basically
I
be
think-
like
Really?
kind
I
of like
think
how
she
Tony
is-
Stark was
yeah.
in Civil War.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, that's what I think. I think that she is the bad guy in the sense of Wanda. You need to sit your fucking ass down. You're doing
like maybe
a lot.
maybe things
And
start
he's
changing
gotta,
in reality,
you
and the
know.
only person that really sees them is
Yeah.
someone who sees through realities, which would be Doctor Strange.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, we have given you a lot to unpack this week. As always, we would love it if you would
As
not just
always.
like, but
That was cute.
also, but also subscribe to the podcast and to the YouTube channel. Definitely, please leave your comments and feedback. We will get back to each and every one of you, if not on air, definitely in whatever medium that you've communicated with us. And you can reach out to us at any time on social media. Our handle on both is @ConcentratedPod. So when I say both, I mean Twitter and Instagram, because TikTok is for children and we're not children. And also you
She
can
says
find
until the
us
next
on
time when we're
Facebook,
doing
our
we're doing
page.
TikTok dances.
When we're doing TikToks.
She's like, come on, guys, we're doing it.
Yeah,
keep
do
keep
the
an
little
eye on
dance.
our
Do the little
TikTok
dance.
for
We're
when
not
y'all do the
doing.
Bust It Challenge.
Eric doing the busted
Right,
challenge.
spoiler alert,
would
Eric-
be
Eric
Yeah,
wins.
amazing.
it's just
Eric
gonna be on
beats
the
us all.
me on the floor, like, oh no, I did it too much. I'm dead now.
You can also find us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is Concentrated Podcast. And we'll be back next week with more theories, more breakdown, and more tinfoil hats. Take care, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.